episode 49 of the Beloving Imaginer. And this one deals with a wonderful topic of Balmont, that is Dmitri Konstantinovich Balmont, who lived roughly 100 years ago and is one of the very greatest of all symbolist poets. And he wrote a book in 1917. I actually have the first edition here. I got it at a discount on Amazon, 1917, and it's called Sonnets of Sun, Honey, and Moon. Let me read you the tiny little foreword that sums up and introduces you to what will come. Here we go. Here I interview a poet I've been reading and researching for decades. Poet K.D. Balmont, a guiding light and major force in the Russian Symbolist movement in poetry, offered an encyclopedic view of his intercultural, nature-mystical development in a climactic book of 255 lyric treasures, Sonnets of Sun, Honey, and Moon, a Song of Worlds. I've translated these into verbal artworks in English by keeping his intricate patterns of subtle, firm rhythm and elegant rhyme. But what may surprise you, I also offer 255 reply poems of my own in Balmontian form. You can perhaps see, I'll open it up, every page has two parts. On the top is a translation of a sonnet by Balmont, and at the bottom is an original sonnet by me in the same form. He is my mentor, my rival, and my friend. And so let's see what comes now. I offer 255 reply poems. In the total book, 510 achievements of wordsong craft. You'll hear my dialogue with the creator, whose personality motivated endlessly new experiences of global travel and nature observations made with devoted precision, all embodied in lyrical beauty. It is the self-portrait of a spiritual master in dialogue with a younger poet, a century younger, who regards him as a friend and mentor in thought and art. This is an amazing book. Vladimir Markov is the best Balmont critic, and he thinks this is Balmont's best book, and I quite agree with him. I had to read the biography of this wonderful man. In Russian, there's a wonderful version in Russian by Molchanova and Zhurmunsky, and I recommend it to everyone. However, there is no biography available in English, and that is symptomatic of the big problem which I am trying here very dramatically and comprehensively to address, and that is he's too often and too widely neglected in English-speaking countries. But I love him. He traveled all over the world, and I followed him, and I published 9 articles about all the different things he translated in the countries where he visited, and the poems he wrote about it, the essays. Just wonderful to have done, and it prepared me like nothing else to do this project. The opener to the poem is an epigraph. I've translated it. A song word rising to the mouth is a drop of honey from an over-brimming heart. That's a Spanish folk song. Cantar que sube a la boca es una gota de miel que del corazón rebosa. And in my Russian version that I got, слово песни капля меда, что пролился через край переполненного сердца. All right. That gets us going, and it gives us the keynote. The keynote is musical notes in general. He's a melodist. He's a melody wizard. Everything sounds beautiful. The structure of this 255 poem book, 510 when I get done with it, is that of a kind of dreamer. There are no subheadings. It's a kind of cosmic day. We begin in the morning with the sunrise, and then we pass through the various stages until dusk and night. And so it's a kind of day or a life, or a progression from life to death. And always two things in mind: the heart, the center of it all, and the boundless. The boundless and the beating heart. Always cosmic awareness, and that predominates here in the opening poems. I'll just start reading for you. This is number 1, Mansion. From out of flames and petals ruby-hued, from flashing sparks and beating feet of steed, from wars where horn and horn collide with speed, from roar of storm, mouth vibrant voice endued, from incense of aroma darkly blued, from words you durst not utter but would heed, I shaped a song. Then Mansion asked, the mead from hidden tidings blent in heat ensued. Within the mansion where my dreams are spun, find varied chambers formed of woven sand, with cross of double stroke a sign is won. It ripens with the fires of Memnon's sun. Infused in corner amphorae expand fermenting legends, aloe blooms at hand. And now you get a reply. My body is a shrine of such a kind, when I, lips touched with fire, to rhyme begin. My incense breath, arising, falls, and in the blood's a heated flow of Eden mind. Oh, grant again to me the heaven wind, night, light yoke that comes with ardor hard to win the favor of a cunning strength, akin to his that can with song our bonds unbind. I chant for every soul and every thing, that each may grasp that all in fate are one, the beggar blithe and the uneasy king, the injured heart immune to jurying, the tidings of the tides in bright and dun, the gain in gone, the being in begun. You can see how this is what I do with my life, because there's nothing more happy-making. Here's part 2. This is called Poet. It's not so different from part 1. Mansion was the house or room or place of residence, as in the scriptural quotation, in my father's house are many mansions. So that was about the poet and where he lives. And, of course, he lives in the vast cosmos, and he's describing it at the time of sunrise. Today, or rather now on page 2, we get poet. Decides the moment, pre-decides the hour, 3 days, a week, or months, or even years. Art moment, nature's throat-tone outburst, dears the dawn gleam in his eyes, God, wisdom, power. The poets, brothers, reeds are not the dower of folk, we're older. Sky vault where appears odd planet crowd, transition spirit, here's the facet, diamond second sparkle shower. But since I'm poet, let me not forget, if underworld creation I'd attain, a turning weather vane, that wonder may of thrusting depth be met, bloom fragrance, air for miles in movement set, word gaze into the soul, the deep regain. Here's my reply. That far may chant to deep, and deep to far, and whirl to still in gyroscopic round, let light-strummed lyre and hark of trumpet sound, and tree-hued violining woo the star. When I to prayer rise, awakened are my organs, varied, very timbred tones who found. Strong congregant each one, they stand astound, their seeming leader, rich in ricercar. By weathers of the world let soul be swayed, arm, hand outspread, the vibrancy let feel. We're present at the wedding of the real, with growing potency of music played, where essence came to birth, in mirth arrayed of space and time, the spice and rhyme of spiel. That has within it a reference to the Sufi teaching of medieval Sufi expositor Ibn Arabi, that when you pray, an entire congregation is praying. All your organs, all your thoughts and impulses and feelings are being conducted by you, the mullah of all those congregants. Let's do number 3. Hollow. The primal moment of the earth, a fire. A conflagration, final minute blaze. Abysses twinned, mid-crazed collision phase, in void transported, force, new flame life, higher. In hazy flaming dust of rushed desire, expanding whirlwinds turn, a world to raise. Repulsion and attraction, melding ways, make flame ships glide in maze their wills require. The pit immense of focal points that burn, a seed of strength preeminent may show, and let the sun a carmine flower grow. Afar the planets, day-night changing, turn. But comes the time the eyes no more need yearn. All planets plunge to meet abyss below. In very literal terms, that's nothing but night changing to day. Let's have a reply. The neurons in their trillions make our brain the roiling furnace of our wills unvoiced, while ganglial attractions try to hoist a balance map to pattern joy and pain. I pray I might the flame road re-attain, where tohu-bohu genies bold rejoiced, before the time of tears a stream that moist to melt the solid crust would seek in vain. O subject of your sentence, human noun, are you an object, abject made as well, and sentenced to a walled and pallid hell? There's no celestial up, infernal down, internal whirl with comet orbit crown. Let burn in fervor, and the sun let swell. Everything's directionless in the post-Newtonian world, and everything is infinite. I think I may conclude with this fourth interview, that is the 7th and 8th poems to be read for today. This is called Fiery World. See, we dwell long in each of the elements and in each of the moods they generate. Flambeau, with fire upliftings, maculae, their craters are, that flames within them bear, sunspots. 100-day-long molten ruby flare, the heated-featured only so might stay. They burn and breathe in brain-perplexing way. Sprouts up a forest, over treetops fair, advancing avalanches in the air. From torchlight, thick aroma, scorching spray. How strong, condensed would those aromas be when even miles in millions far from there, the fragrant warmth of springs for me so fair. How must the flame-faced, fulgent-lightninged sea, when filled with buzz-hum rays, we're made aware our love has come. We burn full-hearted, free. The Newman of a burning whirlbush whirred, without the bang and crackle that would tell of wood consumed, for yet would all be well, when lumen joyed, a voice the human heard. This is the burning bush, and the voice is that of God. Be further, Lord, my weeping spirit spurred to climb in fire, a child of light, the spell to exorcise from nighttime selfhood's cell, unloosed by rutilant prophetic bird. The birds are prophets because they sing of what is not yet seen. I would implore the forces that explode, aromas that arise from hearts unbarred, more perfect than our myrrh and spikenard. Pray let me share, and I'll to you have owed sweet hymn asleep in grove that angels guard, the ray that, tearful, in a dream we sowed. That's a quote from They who sow in tears will reap in joy, from one of the Psalms of David. He's often in the back of my mind when I write this kind of ecstatic hymns to the world and to the joy of every moment of being alive. And thank you so much for being with me.